Now, South African public sector workers on strike for nearly a month may soon return to work but continue talks on whether to accept an increased government wage offer. We're joined on the line now by Manie De Clercq, Deputy General Manager of the Public Sector Association. Manie, thank you so much for your time today. It seems that the unions have gone back to the drawing board. Government revised offer of 7.5%, 800 Rand housing subsidy. Do you think that unions are going to buckle under the pressure?
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. No, I don't know how union members will deal with the offer, because we're currently still busy getting mandates and consulting our members. You see, there are two things, and we have to a large extent started confusing the two matters lately. The one is the offer that is made by government, and once that offer is tabled officially, and it was done last week, Friday, if I remember correctly, unions as well as the employer has 21 days to sign the agreement after it has been tabled, after it's become official. So as far as whether we accept or whether we don't accept, I obviously cannot speak for the I can only speak for the PSA. That we have 21 days to consult our members properly. The initial consultation was on verbal communication that we had with the employer, and that verbal communication was to say 800 Rand and 7.5%, like you rightly indicated. But there are other issues as well in the agreement that one needs to explain. For example, the implementation date this year is July. Then there's the proposal that the implementation date should move to May next year and April the year thereafter. Those matters have not been dealt with or consulted with our members.
Well, Manie, you know, looking at what has been put on the table so far and the sentiment that has been coming through from the members, it seems that the no work, no pay that has been, the notion over the last few weeks, it seems that is in dispute at this point in time. Another thing to keep in mind of that investors have largely been shrugging off this strike. But we know it is going to be a problem down the line because it is going to impact our budget deficit, and we're not really sure how we're going to be able to pay for these wage increases. We've seen massive wage increases for many of the sectors over the last few months. Yes. What is your view on this, given the fact that it's going to have a big impact on South Africa's economy?
Now, first of all, obviously this offer must be considered properly by our members. We have not rejected or accepted the offer. We will take the full 21 days to consult and explain to our members exactly what the contents of this is. That is the one issue. But the other issue is the strike. You've also now referred to a strike. The other issue is the strike. The PSA's view is quite simple. Whilst we're consulting with our own members, in other words, we're not negotiating with government currently, we're consulting with our own members, we see no reason why members should be on strike whilst we're talking to them. First of all, it's difficult to talk to them because they're on strike. Yeah. And secondly, you use the strike to have some pressure on the process of negotiations. Currently, there's no process of negotiations going on. We're talking to one another. PSA talking to its members. So our view is that such a strike should indeed seriously be considered, whether it shouldn't be suspended. And hopefully we will get to that.
Manie, one last quick thing. Looking at the productivity levels of the public sector, it of course has been under dispute for quite some time. And when we saw a structural change to nurses' wages in 2007, productivity did not increase. Do you honestly think that if we do see a wage increase for the public sector, that productivity could also increase in line with that?
Well, hopefully that happens. But like you rightly said, that didn't happen. But also one must blame two parties, that obviously the unions as well as the employer. How can you be an employer, if it's a public service, how can you be an employer and pay people money and don't expect of them to work? I mean, that obviously we can never condone that, and as unions we won't do that.